holiday season is supposed to be a time for joy and connection, but for many remote workers, it feels more like juggling act of work emails and holiday plans. Sound familiar? If taking time off without sneaking a peek at your inbox feels like an impossible dream, you're in the right place. Welcome back to the Long Distance Worklife, where we help you lead, work, and thrive in remote and hybrid teams. I'm Marissa Eikenberry, a fellow remote worker, and joining me, as always, is co-host and remote work expert, Wayne Trammell. Hi, Wayne.
Hey, Marissa, how are you?
I'm great. It's the holiday season, and lights are up, and things are happening, and, it's just great. But obviously, we have to also start thinking about taking time off. And so we got to talk about setting boundaries and disconnecting and actually enjoying our holiday season. What a concept.
Yeah, it is an interesting thing. And if you have trouble setting boundaries, this is the time of year when it becomes an Olympic sport.
Right.
If you have no trouble setting boundaries, God love you, enjoy the turkey and party down. But it is tough. And we're not even talking about all the family stuff that goes on. It actually, this speaks to, and I'm speaking to since I am now a citizen, my American brothers and sisters who are notorious for not taking their time off. The average American leaves 10 to 14 hours of personal time in their use it or lose it account, and that means they lose it every year. We are awful about that. Europeans are like, these people are morons. I can't help that. But it is important that, I more than once have been taken aside and said, I don't care what you have planned. You need to take this time off. And so there you go. And a lot of people are in that position.
Mm-hmm.
I find it's easier for me to take days throughout the year so that there is less of a chunk of unstructured time, because Wayne basically loses his mind. If I don't plan to go anywhere and it's just my wife and I, so I am left to my own devices,
Yeah.
Let's see AI transcribe that one.
You know what? It'll probably actually do pretty well. But it's interesting too that you're talking about this, because I actually got a newsletter this morning that was talking about taking PTO and why you should, and here's the things you can do. But they had this line, and I wanted to remember it for this episode. But it says, "Remember that paid time off is more than just a perk of your job. It's a vital part of maintaining your work-life balance."
And oh, by the way, it's the law. They have to give it to you. So stop feeling guilty.
Well, that too.
Seriously, I don't care about your perfect attendance record.
Yeah.
It is your time. You are being paid for it. Take advantage of it. And to Marissa's point, it does allow us to recharge our batteries, and we need to do that.
Right. So,
it's sure funny, this time of year, I'm just going to get personal for a moment.
That's fine.
The end of the year is really hard for me. I tend not to celebrate the end of the year. I tend to go in a fetal position and obsess about all the ways I've screwed up.
Oh, no.
I mean, basically, I hate New Year's Eve. I love New Year's Day. Because New Year's Day, I've got a fresh start. New Year's Eve is just a giant convention of all my neuroses hanging out inside my head. And oh, by the way, let's fuel that with alcohol.
Cheers.
So, woohoo! So, I have learned, and that's why I'm sharing this with you. I have learned that while staying busy over the holidays keeps me somewhat sane, I tend to balance it out. So I will, with discussion with my manager, I will work part days. I will work a couple of days and then take X day off during this time. It's also a really good chance for me to be a good teammate and cover for people who are, stressed for time.
Right. Well, and it's interesting too that you talk about, you prefer to take days over the year and all that. I am somebody, my very first year here, and for those of you that have been listening for a while, this will surprise no one. I didn't take a single day off the first year that I worked for Kevin. That was just me as a person. I'm here. I got to take the day, so unless it was
Were
a
you
company
hoping for
holiday.
a certificate on the wall? Because
The thing is, I wasn't. It was just in my head. I'm like, well, I'm supposed to go to work, so I'm going to go. Or like, I didn't have any reason not to go. And yeah, and like Kevin pulled me aside and was like, hey, so take your days. And because I don't really travel at this current time in my life, and I don't really do a lot of extra stuff. So for the most part, I don't really have a reason to just take a random Thursday off because, to your point, like I just sit at home and go, well, I could have been working. But the last couple of years, I do take a chunk of time at the end of the year because, I host Christmas Eve and I'm trying to bake cookies with my mom. And there's all this stuff that happens at the very end of the year anyway. And it's just like all of that stuff comes together. And it's like, you know what? Okay. And so the last, I think 2 or 3 years now, I've just taken the last 2 weeks of the year off. And it's just been, that's it. I am out of the office. And it's weirdly been the best thing for me to do to get myself reset for January.
Yeah. Not everybody can go 11
100%.
months without a break. And so, if you want to grow up and be like Marissa, God love you, not everybody functions that way. And so it's really important. What if you struggle with that? If you struggle that, well, what am I going to do except obsess about work? Make a plan for that day.
Yeah.
Even if it is, I have said I am stepping out. I live in Las Vegas, so I can do this. I am going to spend a couple hours on the deck with a book, me and the hummingbirds, and maybe a cigar. I actually plan for that, and I leave, and I got to check something off my list. I sat on the deck and I watched the hummingbird and I had a cigar, and it's all good.
Check.
But plan what makes you happy? What is a treat for yourself?
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't have to be huge. It really doesn't. But little things that make you happy. Is there a book you've been wanting to read? Is there a movie you've been wanting to see? Is there, my wife and I have coffee dates, and we get out of the house, which is the function because Wayne is in the house all week long.
Right.
We get out of the house, we have a cup of coffee, we chat about stuff, but we make it an event. And I think that's the thing is people, well, what am I going to do with this time anyway? Get used to being good to yourself. And it doesn't have to be big, and it doesn't have to be expensive, and it doesn't have to be anything that anybody else cares about.
100%.
You
I mean,
know,
I'm not
if
gonna
you-
lie. Parker and I have. So Parker's my husband. For those of you listeners that haven't heard me mention that name before, but like there has been once or twice that we took a day off of work. Why? Because a game we were really excited about came out, and we were going to play it together.
Absolutely. Little things make us happy. And if you are alone at this time, plan for things that get you involved with other humans.
Yeah, the social part is so important.
It is. It's really easy for this to be hard for people. My daughter is in Chicago. She's alone. She struggles with seasonal stuff anyway.
Mm-hmm.
She has to. Yesterday, she went to the sing-along Wicked at the movie theater by herself. Her and half of Chicago, from the sounds of it. just singing Popular at the top of her lungs for 2 hours, and it made her happy.
There you go.
You know,
I definitely want to see that movie, but
you,
I'm waiting for the no sing along versions for a bit because I've actually never seen it. But that's
well,
just
she has seen the stage play 9 times.
well, there you go.
So she is a little obsessive.
Right.
But this is the thing, is that we need to guard our time. If you are working during this season, don't begrudge the people who are taking their time. Plan with them what's available, what's really due. What can you do to help them? What can they do before they disappear to help you so that you are not left stranded?
Right.
And these conversations take place kind of organically when we're all in the office together. But when we work remotely, and if there's a drinking game for this show, the words weasel and intentional are probably the ones that will put you over the line. But intentionality is so important. It's funny, we're talking about taking time off and recharging your batteries, but you need to be intentional about that. You can't just assume that it's going to happen or assume that everybody understands or does that the same way that you do.
Switching gears a little bit, talking about intentionality and when we are taking that time, but like how do we also intentionally protect that time by resisting the urge to check work messages and Slack messages and emails and all that? I know I struggled with that for a very long time. I have some tips I'll get into in a minute, but do you have some tips on that?
Yeah, for me it's really simple. It's just kill the alerts. It's a simple setting. I mean, for me, it's enough that I kill the auditory alert because I'm like Pavlov's dog. I hear a ping, I need to check it, right?
Right.
I can pick up my phone and see there are 8 messages in Outlook, but I ain't working right now. So, but I also have 60 years of practice that allowed me to get there. But kill the alerts, silence the notifications. It's easy to do, and you'd be amazed at what a difference it makes.
I've had my email notifications off for years, and it's so helpful.
And if you are obsessive, just pick a time. I mean, okay, I'm an early morning riser. My wife is asleep. I'm supposed to be on vacation. I'm supposed to be whatever. I will sneak a peek at my emails just to see if there's a burning fire. But once it's done, I'm done. I can relax. I have hit the little valve on my brain that vents that stuff. And I can now relax because I know there's nothing there that requires my immediate attention. Mm-hmm. For a lot of us, it's the anticipation of, oh my God, there's something in my inbox. I know there is. Mm-hmm. So, hitting the little vent and letting the steam escape is actually better than just trying to ignore it, stick your fingers in your ear and go, la, 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 I'm not listening to you.
Well, funny enough, that is what I do, is that I have all of the do not disturb, but I know me. I know that for me, I am a recovering workaholic. And if first of all, I get a bunch of emails just telling me that the websites got updated constantly. So those happen anyway. But I know that if I go in to look at stuff and if I see something that's a task, my brain isn't going to be, that can wait until Monday. It's, well, I could do that right now. I'm already home. Like, I'll just go do it. I know me. And so I won't look at it at all. So if you are like me, like that's okay too. Whatever you need to do to protect yourself and your time. I know that one of our coworkers used to frequently tell me, we are not surgeons. These are not life and death situations. And if it is, they will pick up the phone.
Yeah, we have been doing this show a long time. We have given you lots of advice, readers, listeners. I'm an analog guy. Dear listener, we have given you a bunch of stuff. Some of it is going to ring true. Some of it is going to seem weird. Probably we should have offered this disclaimer when we began doing this show, which is your mileage may vary.
Right.
We are all human beings with our own individual styles. For me, quick bursts of venting and then being allowed to blissfully go about my day works. For other people, it doesn't, as long as it doesn't go down the rabbit hole, as long as it doesn't interfere with your pleasure, with your relaxation. I know that being worried about stuff is counterintuitive to time off.
Mhm.
It defeats the purpose. Get used to it is my advice. Small doses, gradually building up resistance is the answer. But we all do stuff differently. And there are generalities. We need time off. We need to recharge our batteries. We need to set boundaries with the people we work with and for, so that our work life does not overrun our personal life and steal our joy. And yes, this is grumpy old white guy talking about joy. You are allowed to have it.
Let the record state at 11:27 at 2 p.m. Wayne said, "Let there be joy." And it was
And let there be joy. Darn it, it's the holidays.
well, and to your point about, respecting each other's boundaries and things like that. So, if I know that Wayne is out for a week and I might still be working and I have something that I need to talk to him about or whatever, maybe I don't send that email right now. We have Slack schedulers. I'm sure Microsoft Teams has some sort of scheduling thing. I know Outlook does. If you need to get the email out of your head so that way you don't forget, great, do it. Schedule it for when they come back, because it's just not important right now. And if it is, pick up the phone.
And your desire to get it off your plate does not mean you get to mess with somebody else.
Absolutely.
And these little things, scheduling emails, these little behavioral niceties build up. We've talked before about the trust bank account and how every time you have a good interaction with somebody, it builds positive will, so that when inevitably something unhappy happens, you don't drain that account.
Right.
And these little things make all the difference. You've heard me say before, my favorite quote from Napoleon: if you want to avoid war, you avoid the 1,000 little pinpricks that lead to war. Little things like this matter.
So one of the last things I want to cover before we end this episode is, what are some strategies that teams can implement to ensure adequate coverage when team members are taking time off? Especially we're going into the holiday season. Lots and lots of people are taking time off. And in some cases you're working with skeleton crews and things like that. So what can teams kind of plan for ahead of time to accommodate?
I can't remember the last time anybody listening to this heard me say have a meeting, but this would be one.
Yes.
Right? Prior to probably mid-November, as a team, look at what is remaining that needs to be done for the rest of the year that is time sensitive, right? That isn't just more of the same, but what are the unique demands of the end of the year? There are reports that need to be done. There are all kinds of end of the year activities that get added on to, oh yeah, we're trying to run a business and sell some stuff.
Crazy.
So as a team, identify what those are, and then talk about who's going to be away during that time. People have use it or lose it time. So-and-so can't shut up about their upcoming trip to Hawaii. We know they're not going to be here, but somebody else has a bunch of use it or lose it time, and there's no real occasion. So we didn't know that they're going to be gone. have these conversations and maybe have a Slack channel or something like that that's just for holiday coverage. Hey, I'm around. Hey, I'm going to be around, but I'm going to be out for 2 days. Uh, Something came up. I'm not in the rest of the day, right? Keep each other apprised so that there are fewer uncomfortable recognition, sudden recognitions.
Right. Well, and in your out of office emails too, you can also say, hey, if you have questions about this, talk to this. I know every time I do an out of office, especially if I'm the only one taking time off, like it depends on what it is. If they're talking about long distance work life, I tell them to go to you. If they're talking about Remarkable Leadership Podcast, they go to Lisa. Like I have a list of here's all the people that you need to talk to because I'm not here.
Here's the other thing, with a couple of very obvious exceptions, because you are the tech guru that the rest of us aren't. Stuff gets done. The company is still standing. When you come back on January, whatever the heck it is.
Yeah.
The building will still be there. You will still have a job. Your boss is still going to expect you to get back to work. And the world has not come to a halt.
Right.
If you are that vital to the preservation and maintenance of the business, you are underpaid and your boss is doing it wrong.
And probably have no idea anything about delegation either, depending on where you're at in the hierarchy.
But that's something that we need to get used to too. This notion that if I take my holidays, the company will fail. No, it won't.
Yeah. Well, it's like we said earlier,
like
right?
Batman
it's
in
not
the
a life or death situation.
I feel like Batman in the meme is like, take your time. He smacks them across the face.
Like, do it. So I guess the lesson for this episode, listeners, is that if you aren't taking your PTO, please take it. If you know that you have days that you haven't spent this year, and especially if it's a use it or lose it, figure out when you're going to take off. Like right now, like stop this show, go do it. We will forgive you for not listening to the rest of this episode. But Wayne, I want to thank you so much for this last live episode of the year. This is the last one that we're going to be recording. So for those of you that are listening, you'll hear about 2 weeks of replays before we get new shows up in January. But before we go, we're excited to share that the second edition of The Long Distance Leader is now available. This updated guide is packed with actionable strategies to help you lead effectively in today's remote and hybrid environments. Don't wait. Order your copy at longdistanceworklife.com/LDL to take your leadership skills to the next level in 2025. And because the holidays are in full swing, we do want to wish you a joyful and restful season. Take these moments to recharge, use your PTO, connect with your loved ones, and reflect on the wins that you've had this year because you've earned it. And thank you so much for listening to Long Distance Work Life. For show notes, transcripts, and other resources, make sure to visit longdistanceworklife.com. And if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a future one. And while you're at it, leave us a rating and review on Apple or Spotify. It's quick and it helps us reach even more listeners like you. And we'd also love to hear from you. So reach out to us via email or LinkedIn with the links in our show notes and let us know that you listened to this episode or suggest a topic for Wayne and I to tackle in the new year. Thank you so much for being part of our community. We hope you have a wonderful holiday season. And as Wayne likes to say, don't let the weasels get you down.